Hello everyone, today's video we're going to pick up on measures of variability and go ahead and calculate the standard deviation in our range. For now we're going to leave out variance. I'm just going to show you how to do it very quickly in Excel. The data set you see in front of you extends from the one that we use in mean and median. For today I'm going to go over that briefly again, but then jump into standard deviation and our range. With that, truly the same data set I left in the chart from the prior video. It's here as an example of that. With that, though, I want to go ahead and calculate the mean, median. I'm going to need my max here, so I'm going to go ahead and do my max, my min, and let's go ahead and do the range here, and then standard deviation. Now, if you're not familiar with Excel and you don't like how this text goes across two different cells, if you come up to column A, and between A and B, you see this line, double click it, it extends to the longest width of that whole column, the cell with the longest value there, or most characters. With that, for mean, again, type in average, open paren, highlight our values, close it off, we get that same number. Median, doing the same here. Close it off, good to go. For our max, we're truly typing in similar to what we've done in other Excel formulas. We want our max, and you can see as I type it in, returns the largest value in a set. Here, yes, we only have 12 values, so we could eyeball it and do a sort that way too. But for now, open it up, put our range of values in there, close it off, pulls it out for us, so that 352, and if we eyeball it, that's May up here. Our minimum, oh, there we go, it's a little slow. Same part, type in min, open paren, highlight that same data set, close it off, and then for our range, it doesn't have a specific one, but again, if you remember the calculation, we take our maximum minus, my Excel's being a little slow, our lowest value, hit enter, we see we have a range of 138. So even though we know the range of our 12 months, we don't know how much variability is within that. We know our typical month has about 286 ag salts. With that, though, we don't know the variability of what's around it. We know the min-max of 352 to 214, the range, but we don't know what that means to the values inside, and that's why we use standard deviation to get at the variability. So again, equal sign, and if you start typing stdev, you'll see that there's a couple of the older ones in here, and there's a lot of different ones you can use. We oftentimes will never have the population, so we always have a sample, so we do .s, open paren, and we're highlighting those same numbers, close it off, hit enter, and we see our standard deviation is 46.37. If you do not like how many decimal places this shows, come up to the top after you selected that cell, and come up here where it has number, and just click the other area where it says to decrease that decimal place, and it does round for you as you decrease that amount. Quick video of how to calculate the standard deviation, mean, median, along with the max, min, and range. So we would take this, and if I wanted to talk about your typical case or most, we know that the typical month has about 286 ag salts in a month, with about a 46 count change plus or minus to find that general most months would have when I say that, because that probably wasn't as clear as I had hoped. If we do, let's do below mean, above mean, and all we're going to do is 285 minus our standard deviation, and then for this one we're going to do 285 plus our standard deviation. If you think about our distribution, our standard deviations across, so if we go below and above the mean by one standard deviation unit, so that's our value here of 46, we know about 68% of our sample is going to fall between that range. So we would know 68% of our months would have a count between about 239 to 332 ag salts in a month. That's where it becomes a bit more interpretable, how the values are related to one another and how much they deviate from the mean value itself, the typical case. If there's any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm going to show you the longhand method somewhat quickly in Excel as well, just to show how you would calculate this like we do in class. So first we have to calculate the difference. And the difference is the value from the mean. So we have our value minus, and we know our value here. You can either select the cell or type in 285.75. And I'm just pulling that down. So now we know what that difference is, plus minus. And this is why we square the difference, so we know the actual absolute versus having that. So here, I'm just going to take that cell, times it by itself. I'm going to just copy that down, change the decimal places. It's still rounding. It maintains more than what we're doing. And from here, this is the numerator part to that. So from here, I just need to add all of those up. So I'm going to click a random cell here. I'm going to do our numerator, and it's going to be the sum. I'm going to highlight these. That's that sigma in the formula. And our denominator is n minus 1, so we have a count of, would be 12 minus 1, so we have 12 months. So our variance in this, remember variance is the square units, would be then our numerator divided by our denominator. Our variance is in squared units, this would be the squared number of agasalts, not as interpretable as the standard deviation. Then for standard deviation, we just need to take the square root of that variance number. So standard deviation here, we're going to type square SQRT, that's our square root. Go ahead and click that number above it. And we're good to go, and we see that we still have that 46.3, if I round, 7. That's a long way. If we were doing it by hand, you would do all this calculation. Introduces more human error, some issues with it, but it's an easy way to double check some of the work that's going on. If you have any questions, reach out. Until next time.